There are bugs living on your face right now, and they've been there since before you can remember. Not hypothetically, not some people, you, right now, reading this, and before you go running to the mirror with a magnifying glass. Just know this is completely normal. It's been happening to every human on Earth for basically all of human history. And by the end of this, you're going to look at your own body a little differently. Let's get into what's actually living in and on you. Demodex mites. These are microscopic, worm-shaped creatures that live inside your pores and hair follicles, especially around your nose, cheeks, and eyelashes. They're so small you'd never see one without a microscope. And almost every adult human has them. They come out at night, when it's dark and you're asleep, and they crawl slowly across your skin, feeding on the oils your pores produce. Then before sunrise, they retreat back into the follicle to lay eggs and start the cycle again. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but they're almost always completely harmless. In fact, some researchers think they might even help keep your pores clean by eating excess oil. The only time they become a problem is when their population explodes, which can cause skin irritation, redness, or a condition called demodecosis. And that's usually linked to a weakened immune system or an underlying skin condition, not just having them in general. Dust mites are a slightly different story because they're not actually living on your body. They're living in your bed, feeding on flakes of your dead skin that you shed constantly, day and night, without even noticing. Your mattress, pillow, and sheets are essentially an all-you-can-eat buffet for them, and a single mattress can house millions. They're harmless in the sense that they don't bite or burrow into you, but their droppings contain proteins that are a major trigger for allergies and asthma. If you wake up congested or sneezing every morning and it clears up once you leave the house, dust mites are a very likely culprit. Washing your sheets in hot water weekly kills a huge percentage of them. Then there's your skin microbiome, which is the trillions of bacteria living across every inch of your skin right now. This isn't a bug in the creepy crawly sense. It's an invisible ecosystem, and it's actually one of your body's first lines of defense. These bacteria compete with harmful pathogens for space and resources, which means a healthy population of good bacteria actually makes it harder for dangerous bacteria to gain a foothold. Different regions of your body host completely different bacterial communities. Your oily forehead has a different population than your dry forearm, which has a different population than the damp environment behind your knees. Washing too aggressively with harsh soap can actually wipe out these protective bacteria and make your skin more vulnerable, not less. Your gut bacteria are on a completely different scale. There are trillions of individual organisms living in your intestines right now, made up of hundreds of different species. And collectively they weigh somewhere around 2 to 4 pounds. This isn't just passive tenants either. Your gut bacteria break down food your own digestive enzymes can't handle. They produce certain vitamins like B12 and vitamin K, and they communicate directly with your brain through what's called the gut-brain axis. Which is why gut health has been linked to mood and mental health. A disrupted gut microbiome, often from a poor diet, excessive antibiotic use, or chronic stress, has been linked to everything from digestive issues to inflammation throughout the body. Going back to your face, there are actually 2 different mite species living there, and they've specialized into different neighborhoods. Demodex follicularum prefers your hair follicles and eyelashes, while Demodex brevis burrows deeper into your oil glands. They're closely related, but they've essentially divided up the real estate on your face, each one adapted to a slightly different environment. Neither one causes problems for the vast majority of people, and dermatologists generally consider them a normal part of human skin. Now here's where things shift from totally normal to actual problem. Scabies mites are a completely different situation. Unlike Demodex, which quietly coexists with you, scabies mites burrow into the top layer of your skin to lay eggs, and your immune system reacts aggressively, causing intense itching, especially at night, along with a pimple-like rash, often in the webbing between fingers, wrists, and skin folds. This is spread through prolonged skin-to-skin contact, and it requires actual treatment, usually a prescription cream, because your immune system won't clear it on its own the way it tolerates Demodex. Head lice are one of those things everyone assumes is a hygiene issue, but that's actually a myth. Lice don't care if your hair is clean or dirty. They're just looking for a warm scalp and a reliable blood meal. And clean hair can actually be easier for them to grip onto. They spread through direct head-to-head contact, which is why outbreaks happen so easily among kids sharing hats, pillows, or leaning in close together. The itching comes from an allergic reaction to their saliva, similar to a mosquito bite, just concentrated on your scalp. They've survived alongside humans for basically all of recorded history because they're extremely good at exactly one job. Pubic lice work on the same basic principle as head lice, just adapted to coarser hair and a different region of the body. They spread primarily through close physical contact, and like head lice, they cause itching through an allergic reaction to their bites. It's a common, treatable condition, and like most things on this list, it says nothing about a person's hygiene, just about exposure. And then there's the one that sounds almost too extreme to be real. Fly larvae can actually live under human skin in certain parts of the world, usually after a mosquito-carrying fly eggs bites someone, transferring the eggs onto the skin. The larva then burrows in and develops under the surface for weeks, creating a small breathing hole and a raised, sometimes painful bump. It's rare outside specific tropical regions, and it looks straight out of a nightmare. But the treatment is actually simpler than you'd expect, usually involving covering the breathing hole to force the larva to surface, or a quick medical removal. So after all that, here's the twist nobody expects. Having microscopic organisms living in and on you isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's the opposite. Humans evolved alongside these organisms for millions of years, and a lot of them exist in a genuine balance with your immune system, not as invaders, but as long-term roommates that mostly keep to themselves. The absence of these organisms, particularly your gut and skin bacteria, is actually linked to worse health outcomes, not better ones. This is part of what's called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea that overly sterile environments, especially in early childhood, may actually be contributing to rising rates of allergies and autoimmune conditions because the immune system never learned to properly calibrate itself. So the mites on your face, the bacteria on your skin, the trillions of organisms in your gut, none of that means you're dirty or unhealthy. It means you're a walking ecosystem. And that ecosystem, in the vast majority of cases, is working exactly the way millions of years of evolution designed it to. The only time any of this becomes something to actually act on is persistent itching that won't go away, a rash that's spreading, or symptoms that show up alongside close contact with someone who has a known infestation. Outside of that, the bugs living in and on you right now are just doing what they've always done, quietly keeping the whole system running.